Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? It is another episode of Nights with Ping Monday. It's Monday night, 9 p.m. How are you all? Good to see you in the chat. Bear was here earlier. She says, Evening Ping. I'm still a little dehydrated from crying over my Lions loss last night. It never gets easy. I wish to tell you it does, but it doesn't. I've lost so many of these over the last few years. Hopefully, you just wish for next year. You hope next year it's going to be all different. It's all you can do. Uh, DJ was here. Hey, DJ. Woos is here. Marilyn Landis. Emily Narb. Where is everyone tonight? Everyone decided to have the night off? Marlon Clausen. Hey, how are you? Big news, actually, in the last 10 minutes or 20 minutes or so. Uh, police police did a press conference in San Bernardino County for the 6 bodies found out in the desert. Really interesting. We're going to watch that in a second. And they didn't give away too much. They said, they're doing that whole, oh, it's still an active investigation. So even though we'll let you ask questions, we're not going to tell you anything. So that's basically what's going on right now. Nancy S. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Lynn D's also here. My friend Diamond Heart is here too. Good to see you all. Uh, let's get started. I want to get started with the press conference. Let's watch that for the El Mirage. Now, originally, I actually downloaded the press conference, but it doesn't play very well through this software we use. And I want you guys to be able to see the questions at the end. They did a bunch of questions. So we're going to go to Fox 11 in Los Angeles, California. So we're going to go to Fox 11. They had the best stream of the day. So hopefully they won't kill me for doing this. Here we go.
Related to that homicide. And I want to tell you that from the moment we started this investigation, we started to receive strong leads. And after I was briefed, I was quite confident that we'd be able to get the subjects that were involved in this homicide into custody. And with that, and that's the tireless efforts from our homicide team, from our specialized enforcement detail, and the Victor Valley Station, I'm pleased to announce that the 5 suspects that you see on this chart to my right were those responsible for this homicide. Before I introduce the sergeant that was in charge of this investigation and led this investigation, we used some human source and technological sources to be able to identify the suspects in this case. I would please ask your patience once again. The DA is currently reviewing the filing for this case, and there may be some questions that we're unable to answer, and we'll let you know what those are. And with that, I'd like to introduce Sergeant Mike Warwick to go through some of the details of this case. Mike.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Sergeant Michael Warwick. That's Michaelwarrick. Yes, is this better? All right. I'm a sergeant with the Specialized Investigation Division, Homicide Detail. Our Specialized Investigation Division has been working on this around the clock to bring these people to justice and justice for our victims. They were murdered in the remote area north of Adelanto in San Bernardino County. I appreciate the public and the media's patience with us, which allowed our team to focus our efforts in finding those responsible. I want to remind everyone this is still an active investigation, and we will not be able to disclose all the facts of this case. What I can confirm is on Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024, at approximately 2016 hours, dispatchers received a 911 call from a subject who spoke Spanish. The caller told dispatchers he was shot, but he did not know the location he was at, and it appeared the call ended. Dispatchers tracked the phone via latitude and longitude coordinates to a remote area in the unincorporated Adelanto area near Lessing Avenue. Due to the remote location, California Highway Patrol airship assisted our deputies and conducted an extensive search. Once overhead the area, officers discovered a crime scene and what appeared to be multiple gunshot wound victims, 2 vehicles, and one of the vehicles was apparently shot, had multiple gunshot strikes in it. The two vehicles were a Dodge Caravan and a Chevy Trailblazer. At approximately 20:40 hours, deputies from the Victor Valley Station arrived on scene and located 4 deceased males with severe burns. A 5th deceased male was located in the Chevy Trailblazer, and a 6th deceased male a short distance away who sustained a gunshot wound. Our sheriff's homicide investigators assumed the investigation to process the scene and find those responsible for these heinous acts of violence. I can confirm 4 of the 6 victims have been identified. The name of the 4th victim is still being withheld pending next of kin notification. Victim number 1 is Baldemar Mondragon Albaran, 34-year-old resident of Adelanto. Victim number 2, Franklin Noel Bonilla, 22-year-old Hispanic male adult from Hesperia. Victim number 3, Kevin Darial Bonilla, 25-year-old Hispanic male adult, resident of Hesperia. Victim number 4 was a 45-year-old Hispanic male adult. Victims 5 and 6 have yet to be identified. Investigators believe Franklin Bonilla was the subject who called 911 after being shot by the suspects. To give you a timeline, it took us about a day and a half to process the extensive crime scene with 6 deceased victims, multiple vehicles, and to collect the evidence. We also had to work with the Sheriff's Coroner's Division to perform the autopsies on the 6 victims to determine cause of death. I can confirm all victims had apparent fatal gunshot injuries. Additionally, 4 of the 6 were burned at the location by the suspects. As far as the motives, we are confident that this appears to be a dispute over marijuana, which resulted in the murders. Our investigators combed through evidence collected at the scene and followed up on information provided by the community. Through extensive investigation with the assistance of the Sheriff's Narcotics and Specialized Enforcement Divisions, on Sunday, January 28, 2023, we were able to serve multiple search warrants in the town of Apple Valley, Adelanto, and the Los Angeles County area of Pinon Hills. We arrested 5 suspects involved in the murder of the 6 victims. The suspects are identified as Toniel Baez Duarte, age 34, resident of Apple Valley; Mateo Baez Duarte, age 24, resident of Apple Valley; Jose Nicolas Hernandez Sarabia, age 33, resident of Adelanto; Jose Gregorio Hernandez.
You know, people seem pretty shocked that it's all over weed, but you'll hear later on that he hints that this is probably something like that, some sort of a mafia cartel, trafficking, something like that. So it's not like a bag of marijuana. We're talking probably like, you know, a truckload of marijuana, millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, I'll get you back to it. Sound? Really? Oh, it probably cut out. It probably cut out when I moved it.
Sarabia, age 34, resident of Adelanto; Jose Manuel Burgos Para, age 26, resident of Adelanto. Our detectives recovered evidence, including 8 firearms. Our scientific investigations division will forensically process the evidence and determine if any of those firearms were the firearms used in our murders. We are still conducting follow-up investigation, but we are confident we have arrested all the suspects in this case. They are currently in custody with no bail, pending a review of the case from the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office.
So that's about all they give us, and I'll show you some questions in a second. People are like, well, marijuana is legal in California. This is true, but they also have a massive black market in pseudo like legal marijuana in California. So there's a lot of marijuana that's sold even through storefronts that's, you know, supposed to come from reputable kind of growers and things like that. And there's a lot of shops in California that look legit, but they're actually fly-by-night sort of, they're just drug dealers with storefronts. And I know that sounds weird, but they apparently there's no one that cracks down on it in California, so they just do it until they eventually get caught. The money they make through those storefronts is more than enough to pay the fines that they get through the court. So after they're charged, they just do it again. They open up a new store and then keep selling, underground weed through it. It's not done through a proper growing operation. They're done always on the, trafficking or, outside grow ops or something like that. It's a big, big problem in California, actually. All right, let's listen to the questions.
I'm proud of the work. I'm proud of the work my team did. They spent sleepless hours bringing justice to the family, victim, and their families. I can now take some questions. To the first question, obviously it's an open investigation. There's a lot going on. There's certain things at the scene that show a level of violence that obviously raises some interesting questions for us. But at this point in the investigation, we can't comment on if we believe this is cartel related or not. And to the second question, elaborate a little more on the marijuana. Was it from an illegal grow? Was marijuana illegal?
Emily, I'll grab that one. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of backup and talk a little bit about the region and what we've experienced out there in that region. So, and one thing that hasn't been mentioned yet, we need to remember that even looks like maybe the victims might have been involved in some level of criminal activity in this. We still need to always acknowledge the human perspective of this, and there are true victims in this. And as a result of what's going on in that area, to answer your question, in the last year, our marijuana enforcement teams, they served a total of 411 search warrant for illegal marijuana grows. And we're just talking a 365-day period. Discovered 14 honey oil labs, recovered 655,000 marijuana plants, 74,000 pounds of processed marijuana, and $370 million. During that period of time, our team served 11 search warrants in the immediate area where the murders took place. And they served approximately 40 search warrants to the west of that area that we call the Shadow Mountain area. So this is an area known for illicit marijuana. Does that help you a little bit? Okay. Any other questions?
So, like you just heard from him, they served hundreds of search warrants just in the last calendar year related to marijuana and related to marijuana grow operations and illegal cultivation. So, the legalized industry in California has been a good thing, but it's also made it a little harder and easier for criminal operations to dispense their product because they can either get it into the official supply chain in different ways, corruption and things like that, or they can do like I said before, they can actually sell with storefronts, or they do it in a few different ways. And it's not like back in the day where you went and bought $100 worth of weed or something like that. I've seen some of these stores where a lot of them sell to dealers who are then going to go sell. So they sell in like 2-pound bags, 5-pound bags, 10-pound bags, and they're dealing with quite a lot of money each transaction. And yeah, actually, if you wanted to know more about this, you could watch Trafficked season 2. It's either season 2 or season 3. They actually do an entire episode on the difference between the legalized market in marijuana in California and the black market in California. So if you are interested in knowing more about that and how it relates to this, maybe, I'm just saying maybe, yeah, you could give it a watch. All right. Yeah, the illegal stores don't pay any tax. That's one of the benefits that they have for them. All right, let's see if it's really hard to hear this guy. Whoever did this did not do a good job on the microphone.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And this was related to an illicit marijuana. For all intents purposes, it looks like illicit marijuana was the driving force behind these murders. And that's all we really know at this point. And I think we need to acknowledge really, why we're here and why are we talking about illicit marijuana? And as you said, this is legal in the state of California. The reality is Proposition 64 in the fine print took illicit marijuana and moved it from a felony to a misdemeanor. And the reality of this is by allowing that, we've unleashed a plague in this California, and the plague is the black market of marijuana and certainly cartel activity and a number of victims that are out there. And it's certainly my hope. I'm seeing a number of legislators change Prop 47 and some things we're concerned about. I hope they take the same view of Prop 64 and change this so they give law enforcement a fighting chance to put some teeth into this law and to take back and prevent a number of these homicides and other things that we see occurring. If we don't fix that, we're going to continue to do this. I gave you stats for just the past year, but prior to that, thousands of marijuana grows that we've taken out in partnership with the Bureau of Cannabis Control, with partnership with our other state partners and federal partners. But right now, folks, we have gotten a much better control over this. But it's interesting. I just read an article that was produced back in 2020 in Cal Matters, and what the supporters were saying about Prop 64. And it said it would bring the state's booming unregulated recreational marijuana under the rule of law and protect consumers and the environment. And its recognition of decades of prohibition against aggressive enforcement in criminal laws that don't work. That's false, 100%. Our environment, we prize our environment in this state. You go look at our deserts. It's hoop house trash that's left over. A very small water source that's available to the public has been tapped into. Look at this law through the lens of this case and all the statistics that I gave you. And then please research the other counties across the state of California. They have the exact same problems. We need to prevent these types of senseless murders from happening, and we can do it, and we have it in our power. We just need to make an adjustment. The police are not going after people who are smoking marijuana recreationally. It's illicit marijuana, and everything that Prop 64 was promised may possibly occur if we could just simply make that adjustment and change the way that we handle illicit marijuana in this state. Rob? Rob, yes, it is. And look, based on our training experience, all of you hired experts that have also been talking about this case until we got to this point of the press conference. Based on our training and experience, we believe a lot of these things are occurring that are maybe related to much bigger things going on. The reality is factually at this point of the case, I can't tell you that, but it certainly looks like it has a lot of the modeling of cartel cases and things of that nature.
So the sound is really terrible. One of the reporters, I think, asked something about cartel, and he was basically saying he can't say anything right now, but it does have similar tracking to the modeling software that they have from previous cartel cases, but he didn't know at the moment. So there you go. I won't keep going with it because it's just basically rehashing everything he said in the press conference, and then he just says, "Oh, no more questions. I'm going to get out of here." And then they just, what they do, they always take off after about 5 questions because they really can't say anything yet. And the press just keep saying the same things over and over again, trying to get something out of them, and they don't really ever give anything. So I will put the link in the chat. If you want to watch the entire thing, snout to tail, you can. There you go. And Sherry Runs Late says, my husband's transmission went out today also. It's a very painful operation. I mean, I hope he gets his transmission installed in his body again. I mean, when a male's transmission drops out, you got to be very careful. Let's see what everyone else says. Diane Marie says, please, we can't make it illegal to steal $999 worth of anything from stores in California. It's gross. Yeah, I heard this, that they were going to change their petty theft law or something to like $1,000, and basically I know they did something similar in another part of California or San Francisco, and then people are stealing every day. They steal all sorts of stuff. That wouldn't be good. I hope they don't continue with that. People need to be held accountable. I sort of get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it the courts not backed up with people stealing like some candy bars or something. I get it, but there's got to be a different way of dealing with it rather than just saying, "Oh, you can steal up to $1,000 and we're not going to charge you, or we're just going to give you a on the spot fine." I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what the solution is, but it's way above my pay grade. Sean says, I sold tracking devices for each plant. We called it seed to sale. Yeah, I know some states and in Canada, you have to have basically every step of the plant's life from like when you planted it to like when like the grow time, harvest, bagging, shipping to the store, like and you need to know every plant, where it went, what bag it went into, everything. So trespass. Oh, okay. Don't trespass. It's a misdemeanor. Okay. Canadian company. Oh, there you go. There you go, Sean. There you go. I thought it was. I know Canada's got some very strict C2 thing. Sorry, had to cough. All right. I was hoping to find they had like a little like I don't know what you'd call it, like a profile thing of each person, and I had a link for it before, and of course I can't find it now. I'll see if I can find it. They were sort of showing like the different victims because I don't think that one showed it for some unknown reason. Where is it? See if I can find a better link. Don't know why a lot of these sites just haven't put those photos up yet. Maybe they will at some point. See if News Nation has it. No, it's weird. No one's put up the. I'll show you what it is. Hold on. Oh, where is it? Yeah, I'll show you. See here, there's like a white thing with all the people's photos with names on it. They they were supposed to release this as a pamphlet out to the media, but every link I've clicked, you can see they're all purple. Every link I've basically clicked doesn't have it. They haven't released that yet, and I don't know why. I don't know why they haven't uploaded that photo. I'll just check one more link. See for some reason do they have it. No. If I get it, I will post it. That's all I can say. But yeah, glad we got a resolution on that. It's really, really good. And we'll find out more. We'll find out more in probably a little bit longer. They executed some warrants today, went and arrested these guys, and I still got to say, even just for trafficking marijuana, even if it is cartel or not cartel or just some local gang or whatever, it's a lot of dead people, right? And the fact they were saying one of the guys before he died actually rang in to the police and said he'd been shot, and that's how they were alerted to the crime. That's crazy, and the fact that I guess he probably died, it's pretty horrible. Horrible way to go. Let's see what you guys have to say. They trespass the thief instead of an arrest for theft. When and if they return, you charge them. Oh, okay. I gotcha. Sure, runs late said, I'm boring. I've never smoked, drank, did any drugs. But you like to swear. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Let's get to this next one. I want to go back. If you missed last night's show, I came on for a little bit after the 49ers won the NFC Championship, and I came on for about half an hour. But if you missed that show, I want to go over this again very, very quickly. If I can just fix this. Hold on. Why is that doing that? Okay. There we go. All right. Share this. I'm going to talk about India Delilah O'Hanlon again. We spoke about it last night. I'm going to do it again for people who missed it. I'm sure there was many people who missed it last night, including our friends in Southern California. There is an Australian American woman named Indian Delilah O'Hanlon. She is currently missing in San Diego. She's lived there for the past 2 years. She's 25 years of age. 11 days ago, she disappeared, leaving behind her clothes, makeup, computer, and even her social security card and her credit cards. Her parents have been posting on social media, asking for people to be on the lookout for her. She was last seen on January 16th at 7:56 p.m. via video call, in which she seemed distracted, high, and agitated by the arrival of an unseen male. The call ended abruptly. She has not been seen by family, friends, or work colleagues since. A missing persons report was filed on Thursday last week with the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. Her case number is 24500 153. And the telephone number of the missing persons unit is +1 619 53 2277. The San Diego Sheriff's Department detectives that took the report was dismissive of her parents' concerns, suggesting she probably went on a road trip without telling anyone. But the parents are saying that their indications from what they've been able to gather and see is that she may have been mentally distressed or deliberately isolated by someone who is a known dealer with gang connections. They said they believe she is still in San Diego area. They have tried to provide further information to the missing person unit, but no one will return their calls. They've had no updates since they first filed their report. It says he and his wife are distraught with no communication from the San Diego sheriffs and no assistance from the Australian consulate in Southern California. They're asking for anyone, including the true crime community, for help. And I'm going to show you. This is a photo of India. If you see this woman, if you see her anywhere, please call it in with that with those details that I mentioned before, including the case number. I was going to tell you guys that in this photo, she has her hair down. This may not be what she looks like right now. She might have her hair tied up. She might have cut it. She may be wearing a baseball cap. She may be wearing a beanie. So try and look from the eyebrows down and try to memorize that part of her face. If you see her, call it in. Her father and mum are really, really worried. I know I spoke to her father very briefly earlier. Just said we were sort of working on it, and we'll keep bringing it up and showing her photo on the show. I asked if he'd like to come on and speak about it and give us more information about India. He said not at this time. I think he's quite busy with other commitments with probably other people that are helping, and that he said maybe later on. So maybe later on, later in this week or whenever they got a chance, they may come and speak to us if they haven't had uh, a good resolution by then, which would be good. It'd be much better if she had a good resolution and then he doesn't have to come here and talk to us. Maybe Ping wants to stage on this one. I don't know what that means. I sound sleepy today. I'm not sleepy today. I'm actually I had pretty good sleep actually after being exhausted yesterday from the Niners game. Let's see. Thanks, Shebe. Shebe says, if I was to see her, I would notice looks so much like someone in my family. I have traveled over 300 miles this weekend. No sign of her. I hope someone out there does or will be able to see you. See her. Diamond Heart says, a bit worried about you ping something in your voice. Are you good? I am fine. I'm all right today. I often get croaky though. It's happened to me on and off for months when I do the show. Maybe maybe I'm getting run down again. Could be possible. It's been a stressful few days. Yeah, that's all I've got about this for now. If I get more information, I will let you know. Definitely. All right, let's move on. All right. We spoke about a shooting in Humble in Texas. I think it's in Houston. They've made an arrest. They handed themselves in. I'm going to show you that. We spoke about that the other week. Actually, give me 1 second. I am going to get some water. Hold on. Maybe my voice is just a bit hoarse from yelling at the TV for like 3 hours yesterday. It could be what it is. It'll be fine in a day or so. Yeah, here we go. Houston crime. 2 teens turned themselves in after deadly shooting of Humble store clerk. We watched this video the other day. I think it was last week or the week before. It says, according to police, 17-year-old Mario Young Ferguson was the shooter and has been charged with murder. Police say the other teen was questioned and released and is not currently facing any charges. The 2 teens turned themselves in on Sunday night in connection with the deadly shooting of a store clerk in Humble. And this was the video we showed. I don't know if you remember.
In other news this morning, 2 teenagers accused of a deadly shooting in Humble have turned themselves in.
Both are expected in court this morning. Shelby Rose joins us live with the details from this case. Police tell us this all started over a bag of chips. Right. Shelby?
Yes, the 2 teenagers could now face capital murder charges after turning themselves in last night, and it was all allegedly over a bag of chips. It all started at the Sunoco gas station on Will Clayton Parkway. Humble police say the 2 suspects walked in on Friday and allegedly stole a bag of chips. You can see this on the surveillance video right here. Now, a 42-year-old employee then confronted them, and a verbal altercation started. Well, the 2 teenagers left the store, as you can see, and the employee followed them outside. Police tell us he then got into his car and continued to follow the 2 when they began shooting at him, ultimately resulting in his death. Now, both suspects fled the scene, but then days later, activist Quanell X says the 2 reached out to him for help to turn themselves in, saying they believe the shooting was in self-defense, claiming the store clerk also had a gun.
These are 2 teenagers, 17 years old. It breaks my heart to see such young boys caught up in such a dreadful situation such as this. And it's painful. You got a store clerk that's dead, and you have 2 young 17-year-old boys whose lives may forever be destroyed because of this.
And we still are awaiting the 2 suspects having their first appearance before a judge, and we will have
I was gonna say, haven't we seen that guy before? This fella. Someone from Humble, Texas might be able to tell me who this is.
bond information.
Hold on, let me pause this. This fella. Isn't this like a famous, I don't know, like he stands up for black African American people, and am I thinking of the right person? He's been in a lot of cases in America. I saw him also on that show that I can't remember. He was in Profiling Evil with the lady from Cold Justice. This fella was on that show in a completely different case from like 10, 15 years ago. Yeah, seen him before. He's Cornell. Okay. He's a lawyer. Yeah, he did another defense case in, if you watched that Profiling Evil show, he was on one of the episodes. No idea. No idea. When we got her, that was her name. We didn't name her. That was already her name. Let's see. Flying DJ says Quinell X. Yeah. Oh, the Sorry, she's been a real pain lately. She's taken to clawing like the furniture for like no reason. It's driving us insane. She never used to do it, and now she started doing it like all the time for attention. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. Flying DJ knows who it is. Yeah, he was on Profiling Evil. Oh no, I'm going to tell stopping the cat from clawing the couch. And then each time I go off, it's because I'm trying to get her away from the couch. She's being naughty. Every time I jump on the live show, she thinks I'm taking attention away from her. But that's really good news. That it was a pretty smart thing for them to do. I don't know if he had anything to do with it. He's done that before, where he knows the families of the people involved, and he'll get the suspects to turn themselves in, and then I guess he helps them with their their cases or whatever. That's what happened in the Profiling Evil. He actually got the person to turn himself in. So I don't know if that's what happened here with him, but it says, yeah, we watched this last week. This was the footage. I think you saw a little bit of it in that little video. This is one we showed the other week. It was all over a bag of chips or something, wasn't it? This is so silly to take someone's life over a bag of chips. Really, really horrible. Exactly. It must be a thing. Animals must get it. Animals must know when you're on a live show, and then they start playing up. But yeah, no idea if she was named after the Gilmore Girl character. And then they mill around here, and then everything happens sort of off camera. They've got a giant one that cost me like $180. It's this really huge one that's the size of like a lamppost. It's massive. She has a giant scratching post. These cats have everything. I've I've geez, maybe I am coming down with something. Nancy says, is this the first time we're hearing about a victim having a gun? Yeah, I don't remember ever hearing about the victim having a firearm. I don't remember that, but we read about 20 stories a night. I mean, sometimes I remember the outline of it. Shiba says, do you have a cardboard box? That's the cat's favorite. Yep, they've got cardboard boxes, toys. They've got sleeping pod things. They've got Windows sleeping things. They've got everything. They've got so many different toys and things. Oh, Quinell X helped Rudy Farias. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe that's where I know it, but maybe that's where I know him from. Maybe it was that case. But yeah, we showed this the other week. And then I think once he realizes, see, my throat is going. Maybe I'm getting a cold. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for a second. Watch this. I'll be back. Yeah, I think it's actually I think I know what it is, unfortunately. It's been quite hot here recently, and I I've had the aircon on a lot, and I think it's been drying my throat out more than normal. Oh, don't think anything happened? Yes, hot tea, even though I hate hot drinks. Uh, alright. Alright. Hopefully that stop? Yes. Okay. Well, it's always good news when we can get
Assistant
people
Chief Dan Zentek, Zientek, from the Humboldt Police Department.
from the Oval.
Today about
That was the other press conference when the guy actually died. Alright. Let's go to our other story. If I can find it. Apparently, I can't find any of my links anymore. Alright, give me 2 seconds. Come on. Actually, there's some breaking news out of Australia. I had no idea about this. Do you guys want to see something freaky? Look at this. Apparently, a rain bomb has descended upon Morayfield in Brisbane's north in Queensland, Australia. Look at this. This is a roadway. It's more like you need a boat, not a car. And this was a shopping center, like a mall. It looks like it's now an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Look at that. People walking around in the shallow water. That's a lot of water. From ex-tropical cyclone Kirrily is dumping much rain on the area. I had no idea. But that's not uncommon for Queensland. Queensland often gets a lot of flooding in summer. They often get a lot of flash floods and things like that. Look at that. You can see how much water has been dumped on the region. Sort of like Kentucky or anywhere near the mountains in America. You get like a lot of flooding in spring. Very similar. All right. Let's go to our next story. We're going to talk about, I'm not going to talk about Alex Murdoch because that's, Trish is doing that tonight. I spoke with her earlier and she's doing the updates in his case. Oh, this is interesting. Actually, I didn't catch this one earlier, but this is a very sad story. Amber Alert cancelled after missing 5-year-old Kentucky girl found safe. Just let me stop that. An Amber Alert for a Kentucky child who went missing after her mother was found dead Sunday has been cancelled and she has been found safe. Leela Black, 5, was believed to have been taken by her biological father, 42-year-old Byron Black. According to a post from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, police responded to a home in Princeton, Kentucky on Sunday and found a woman, 42-year-old Kelly Black, dead from a gunshot wound to the back of the head. Neither Leela nor her father had been seen since Friday, and an arrest warrant for Byron Black had been issued in connection with the woman's death, and he was believed to be armed and dangerous. State troopers have now announced he is in custody. Well, that is really, really good that she was found safe and not deceased. It's a horrible thing. I hope she didn't see her mum be killed. I really hope that's not what happened. What a lovely little girl. I'm glad that Amber Alert was cancelled. That's all we can hope for is that, the kids are found safe and brought home. All right. It seems like Monday is a day of massive updates in every case we've ever followed forever. Teen murder suspect Shane Pryor captured. So they finally found him. It says after 5 days on the run, escaped murder suspect Shane Pryor, 17, was captured by the United States Marshal Service in Philadelphia on Sunday, according to police. Police said the teen was taken into custody by officers in the marshal's office after he was pulled off a SEPTA bus on 3rd Street and Roosevelt Boulevard without incident. He was then transported to the PPD homicide unit. Pryor escaped from the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia in University City on Wednesday. They had actually released another video of him, and I think it was DJ that sent it to me, but they actually had released a second angle of him in like a 7-Eleven type shop, and he was changing a hoodie or something. Obviously trying to change his appearance, but here you can see it says the U.S. Marshal Service Philly and the Philly Police have captured escapee Shane Pryor. Investigators were conducting surveillance in an area Pryor was known to frequent when Pryor was observed boarding a SEPTA bus. They say the U.S. Marshal Service pulled over the bus and Pryor was arrested without incident. See, they're very clever. They obviously knew that because he was a child when he was arrested originally on murder charges, he wouldn't have too many places in the city that would be familiar to him. And while on the run, he's going to want to seek familiarity because he doesn't know anything else. He's been in custody for a lot of his teenage years. So that was very clever. They do a great job, the US Marshal Service. Look at that. There you go. You can see he was arrested. Let's see if we can show some of these photos. Let's show you. There he is outside of the bus. He's a very distinctive looking fellow. I'm surprised someone didn't call him in earlier. There's a US Marshal Service with his vest on. They did a great job. Anytime we can take and if you believe the story of what he's been charged with, I would think he's a very dangerous young person. Apparently he killed, I think it was like a 45-year-old woman after propositioning her for sex for payment. And they shot and killed. Did they shot and kill her or beat her? I can't remember. It was one or the other in an alleyway and just left her there. I'm just trying to see if there is a... Yes, he was charged in 2020 on a homicide charge. He tried to say it was some random guy, and they're like, "You're the only one on the camera coming out of the alleyway, buddy. Ain't nobody else." What is this? Seems they actually gave his municipal court of Philadelphia docket. And they're saying that you can see his different charges on here. He had a preliminary hearing, you can see how many preliminary hearings he's had on the 11th of the 9th, and 9th of the 11th, the 26th of the 1st, 13th of the 4th, 26th of the 7th, 10th of the 4th, 4th of the 10th, 7th of the 12th, and 28th of the 12th. He's had a whole ton of them. And it says here, what was his charges? Murder, conspiracy, firearms not to be carried without license. Is that a charge or just a direction? Possession of firearm by minor. Possess instrument of crime with intent. And it's recklessly endangering another person. So he copped a lot of charges. And so it's saying they proceeded in court on all those, and saying that all these charges are being held for court right now. There you go. That's his criminal docket for Shane Pryor. Glad they have recaptured him. He seemed like he could do some damage randomly. I think they described him as quite dangerous.
He's facing those new charges, not just for his escape last Wednesday, but also, according to the DA's office, for assaulting staff at the Juvenile Justice Center earlier in the month. After 5 days on the run, Shane Pryor is back in custody and facing new charges.
There was no cockiness, but I think he knew the jig was off.
The 17-year-old was arrested without incident on a SEPTA bus near 3rd and Roosevelt Boulevard at around 6:30 last night. The U.S. Marshal Service shared these images of the moment of the arrest. Community members grateful the manhunt came to a peaceful end.
So the fact that no one was injured and that no property was damaged, that's awesome.
Officials saying when they searched him after the arrest, they found a universal handcuff key on him. They're investigating whether he could have had this and used it when he escaped on Wednesday.
I have no information that he used it. However, it's very interesting that on his person tonight, when we take him into custody, he has a handcuff key on his person.
Did he say anything?
The DA's office saying the teen now faces several assault charges as well as charges for hindering apprehension, recklessly endangering another person, and escape for his escape. They're also charging him for and investigating an assault they say happened at the Juvenile Justice Services Center back on January 9th. This on top of the 2020 murder charge he was already facing, the one his family says may have prompted him to flee.
It is an indicator of guilt. I stand by that, and I just don't know what he was thinking.
The U.S. Marshal Service had been tracking Pryor since he left custody at CHOP Wednesday, sharing surveillance video that showed his movements minutes after he left custody while he was still moving around CHOP, and video of him at a corner store near Masher and Godfrey later that same day. They also shared images from the days that followed, including when he was spotted at a Target on Friday. Officials saying the sharing of these images and constant tips from the public helped the investigation.
We definitely cut his resources. We kept him moving. We kept him stressed.
Meanwhile, 18-year-old Michael Diggs is already facing charges for allegedly helping during this escape. Officials telling us other people could also be charged.
Investigation is still being conducted. There's a very good chance you're going to be prosecuted. We know who a lot of the players are here. We know a lot of the people that were assisting him.
Now, we did get a statement from the Department of Human Services. A spokesperson said that they can confirm that there's an internal investigation being conducted. And as a part of that investigation, relevant policies, procedures, and practices are being reviewed. A determination will be made as to whether changes are warranted. I'm Miguel Martinez-Valle.
It's interesting that his case has sat for so long. If he was 14 when he was charged with murder, and he's now 17, it's 3 years without much of a court date. Like, when you looked at that docket, he'd had a lot of preliminary hearings, but nothing really to push forward with his case. I'm not sure what's holding it up, but 3 years to get through to addressing his charges is quite a long time, right? I mean, he's been in custody since his arrest. It's a long time. Hey, see you, Woos. See you later. See you tomorrow. Oh, okay. Bye, Natalana. I guess that's it. That's it. Show's over, everyone. No, I'm just kidding. We'll keep going. We have at least one more story to go. Let me pull this up for you. If I can, I always say if I can find it. I was going to give you an update on a really big case. Where are you? Hold on. Before we do that, I want to see this. Hold on. What is this? Missing Oklahoma woman's body found under clothes in back of SUV. It says, Oklahoma authorities found the body of a missing Tulsa woman in the back of her damaged SUV Sunday morning after obtaining a search warrant to look in the vehicle. Cassidy Ritchie, 39, had not been seen or heard from since January 20, and Tulsa police believe there was some sort of foul play involved in her disappearance after finding the damaged vehicle near Enola. The vehicle had extensive off-road damage and debris. Tulsa police also named Ritchie's husband, Chris Morland, as a person of interest in her disappearance. Morland, who is being held in Tulsa on warrants from Texas, has not been cooperative about his wife's disappearance. Ritchie's body was found underneath clothing in the back of the SUV. Noting that they were investigating her death as a homicide, Police also said that Richie was involved in prior domestic violence incidents. Oh, that's horrible. Let me see if we can see any more about this woman. It says, this morning detectives obtained a search warrant on Cassidy Ritchie's vehicle and recovered her body underneath clothing in the back of the SUV. Ritchie was reported missing last week after her family had not seen or heard from her in several days. Her vehicle was found with extensive off-road debris on it near Enola. How horrible. This is a photo of her. And that's a photo of her car with the extensive off-road damage. It does have a lot of damage, right? Like you can see all the grass and stuff shoved into the motor, and it's missing half its front fender. The bonnet is smashed. There's no side window here. And then they found her body in the back of it. It is very sad. Another woman lost to domestic violence. Peekaboo Cockatiel says, I hate it when I'm watching you and I get interrupted by someone that wants to talk for an hour. I'm sorry about that. Hey, Wild Man's mom. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. You can always click the little red button underneath the video and it'll bring you to the live. And then you can watch the older bits later. All right. Let's go. We were going to talk about a different case and then we changed it to El Mirage. So let me find. And now I'm having a mental blank about what case exactly we were going to talk about. It's going great today. The show's going fantastic. What? I want to see this for a second. Oh, this might need a trigger warning if we do read this one. I was trying to get out of this page. I don't like using crime online for many stories. But it says here, so trigger warning. It says Pitbull castrates alleged, R word, chews off his genitals after gang unleashed dogs on him. We're not going to watch the video, it's okay. A gang in Mexico City allegedly unleashed 2 pit bulls on a man accused of R-wording a woman last month and reportedly recorded the incident as a warning to others. Don Dario reports that the alleged incident occurred after an unidentified man in his 30s was captured by a Mexican gang following accusations that he sexually assaulted a woman. 5 reported gang members ripped the suspect's clothes off, handcuffed him, then gagged his mouth with a cloth to stifle his screams. Someone recorded the incident as the men first unleashed a white and brown pit bull terrier who immediately began chewing away at the suspect's genitals. As the man screamed in agony, another dog, a brown pit bull, appeared but didn't join in. The alleged gang members supposedly released a video to show what could happen to anyone else caught sexually assaulting a woman. According to the National Institute of Statistics and Geography, Mexico is currently one of the most violent countries in the world for women, and more than 80% of sexual crimes go unreported to authorities. Of the suspects that are reported, only a small percentage are actually convicted. While it's unclear if the unnamed suspect survived the attack, the video indicated that the dog left the man with a large gaping wound where his genitals once were. Some people might say that is a form of justice, especially if this man is, done this before to other women. But that's a brutal eye for an eye punishment, isn't it? Reby says, Ping, I'm very interested in the tobacco war that seems to be brewing in Australia. There was another 2 shops firebombed just this week. And that war in Australia is only going to get worse in about a month. In 30 days' time, in Australia, vaping products will become basically illegal throughout Australia. You'll no longer be able to go to a vape store and buy any kind of not tobacco, vaping products, any type of e-liquid, any type of parts, devices, bottles of anything. And this is going to make the black market in Australia just explode. If it has, like, these guys are not going to just follow the ban. They're going to start selling these things under the counter, and I would expect more violence and firebombings everywhere. Everywhere. Bloody cat, she keeps walking underneath the computer. Yeah. Yeah, we know, we spoke about it before. Diamond Heart, we spoke about it at the front of the show. There's no audio again. I'm sorry. The bloody cat keeps pulling on the cable. Hold on. Yeah, I hope you guys can hear me now. Yeah, she keeps pulling on the cable and it's like making it like kind of wiggle to where it disconnects for a second and it switches the audio back over to the other one. Yeah, so it's going to get bad. It's going to get really bad down here. The war for the turf to sell underground or, black market vaping products is just going to go crazy. You think they already are fighting over the, places to sell black market tobacco? It's going to get even worse. So I don't know what they're going to do to try and fix this problem of criminals basically trying to scare rivals into abandoning their tobacco shops, but we'll find out. She's just being a nightmare today. She just will not leave it alone, will not. She's being really, yes, very naughty today, very naughty. She's just being really bad kitty. Wildman's mom says, "Oh, I did see where the baby girl Leela was found, and I prayed so hard she would be okay." I know. I'm so glad she wasn't hurt. It's very sad that she lost her mother, though. It is very quite sad. All right. Let me see if I can find the original big story that I had on the show before we switched to the bodies in the Mojave Desert. I wish they'd release that photo though. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can find this original story. If anyone can remember what I wrote, my memory's terrible today. Need to take some of that jellyfish pills. I was watching late night TV in America and they're like, "Do you have memory issues? Do you need to like be more like sharp with your mind? Buy these jellyfish pills and they'll make you, much better at remembering things." And I was like, "Jellyfish pills? Really? You're going to try sell people jellyfish ground up and put in a capsule?" Oh, I know what it was now. It was the Delphi killings update. That's what it was. It was Richard Allen. Now I remember Richard Allen. Just trying to find out, where is it? Yeah. ABC7 Chicago.
More drama tonight in the case of two murdered girls in Delphi, Indiana. Attorneys for suspect Richard Allen are once again calling for the removal or recusal of the special judge presiding over the case. The attorneys were just reinstated to represent Allen in this new filing. They argue that the judge interfered with the attorney-client relationship by removing them. They also question the judge's impartiality. Allen is charged with killing 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German in 2017.
All right, let me read that. That was very quick, but basically they're saying there's more drama in the Delphi case. They're trying to get the lawyers for Richard Allen, who are now back being his lawyers again, are calling for the removal or recusal of the special judge presiding over the case. In a new filing, they argue that the judge interfered with the attorney-client relationship by removing them. They also question the judge's impartiality. Allen is charged with killing 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German. When I look at this case, every time I look up something new about it, all I think is like, what a mess this case has turned into. A while ago, we were like, yay, oh my God, I can't believe they arrested someone. That's such great news. And then all I see now is just like one problem after another with, the court case, the suspect, the attorneys, leaked photos. It really has been a mess. And I just hope it doesn't affect the trial or trying to get a conviction here. I really don't. I would like to see someone held accountable for the deaths of the two girls. Gambler says, have you heard of Nulos? I thought I sent you this story to you last week, but I hadn't. I don't know that one. Maybe I do. Sounds familiar. The word sounds familiar. Oh, it's like, I know what you mean now. Yeah. I've heard of it before. It's like the voluntary castration thing. I've heard of it before. We're not going to read that story. It's pretty gross. Wildman's mom says, this is in real time. There is something running on my roof running around. Probably a possum. We have those in Australia. They run around. Reby says the Chinese eat jellyfish as a cold starter dish at dinners. Ugh. Aren't they supposed to be like crunchy? I read they're supposed to be like real crunchy. And like it's not like a nice thing. They're sort of like springy but crunchy. All right. That wasn't much of an update in Richard Allen, but I just wanted to express my thoughts on just how messed up this case is. I just hope they can get through this somehow and find a way to bring like an impartial trial and bring the best case they can at trying to get a conviction. That's it. I mean, as long as it's good evidence and shows he's guilty or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But every time I see something about Delphi, it's something bad. There's leaked photos, they kicked the lawyers off, here's some sort of white supremacy weird stuff in jail with Odinists, and now we've got like the lawyers are back and now they want to get rid of the judge. And I mean, I know cases have their legal battles, but this just seems over the top. And here's another bit about it. It says, less than 2 weeks after being reinstated on the case, the attorneys for the accused Delphi killer Richard Allen are again calling for the removal of Special Judge Fran Gull from the case. Supreme Court justices recently ruled unanimously to keep Gull on the case. Court documents filed Monday by Allen's attorneys Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rossi request Gull's removal or recusal. Reading the pleadings, there is actually very little new information. Largely, it's repetitive of prior claims that they've made, but they're pretty far-ranging. They're saying that the court filings from Allen's attorneys are somewhat repetitive, Certainly, the Indiana Supreme Court has weighed in, but not weighed in by not disqualifying the judge at the moment when they could have done so. That is predictive of what may happen in this motion as it moves through the regular course of appeals. So basically, they're saying because it's just a repetitive, redo of something they've already tried, that it probably might go down the same path, and that judge is probably going to stay on the case because they've already kind of, kept them around already, and they don't expect that to, change in the future. It says Judge Gull instructed appointed counsel to cease work on Mr. Allen's case, which interfered with the attorney-client relationship, prejudiced the accused by denying him timely, effective representation guaranteed to him by the state and federal constitutions. This disarming of counsel also occurred immediately in advance of Judge Gull ordering up a hearing in her own courtroom in Allen County, Indiana. At the hearing, the judge staged the pre-mediation removal of attorneys Rossi and Baldwin, complete with cameras in the courtroom for the first time ever in the case, with Judge Gull having prepared in advance a handwritten statement with claims of gross negligence and gross incompetence actions on the part of each lawyer. So they're saying that basically she attacked them, and that's, I don't know, against his rights or something. Reby asked Vegemite did you also try pigeon tongue? Do pigeons have tongues? Don't they just have a beak? I agree. Jojo says this trial is a mess. 100%. It's just feels like problem after problem, but maybe they can get there in the end. All right. So that's enough about Richard Allen. I'm actually glad we didn't do that as the lead case tonight. I thought it was going to be a bit more interesting than that, but it really wasn't. All right. Actually, this is interesting. Did any of you know this trial was on? Trial of man charged in 1991 cold case of Bucks County mom begins.
David Hibbs, one of the many witnesses prosecutors brought forward, telling the court and a judge he was 12 years old.
We'll watch that in a second. It says the trial began Monday for Robert Atkins, who was charged in 2022 in the 1999 murder of Bucks County mom Joy Hibbs. I can't say I know this one. The murder trial of a man who was charged more than 30 years after a woman was found dead inside her burning suburban Philadelphia home began on Monday. Loved ones of Joy Hibbs were face to face in a courtroom with Robert Atkins, the 57-year-old Fairless Hills man accused of murdering Hibbs in 1991. Atkins was arrested and charged in May 2022. The cold case murder made national headlines over the years before the breakthrough announcement from Bucks County officials. I can't say I remember any of this. What a bad true crime person I am.
What's the accusation?
This is the suspect here after his arrest. I can't imagine some of the unkind labels that might be attached to this, suspect. There you go. That was him. It says cold case solved after more than 30 years. Bristol Township Police and Bucks County investigators arrest a man they say murdered a wife and mother before setting the house on fire to hide the crime. I know we have some people from Philadelphia in the chat. I wonder if they are aware of this one. They're saying after the fire of her house was extinguished, Joy Hibbs was found dead on a bed in her son's bedroom. She was 35 years old. Investigators initially believed she died in an accidental fire. During his testimony on Monday, David Hibbs said he initially felt responsible for his mother's death. believing his toys or his fish tank may have caused the deadly fire. An autopsy the next day, however, revealed his mother had been repeatedly stabbed. Her ribs were also fractured and she was likely asphyxiated. The autopsy also determined that there was no smoke in her lungs and she likely died prior to the fire. Yeah, no soot or no ash in the airways would indicate that she died before the fire had been set. It says the fire marshal then determined the fires were intentionally set in the kitchen, Hibbs' son's bedroom, and in the hallway. Investigators later learned Hibbs had cashed her paycheck hours before her death, and her wallet was found stuffed in the living room couch. Her purse was also found with items emptied and strewn out in the kitchen, while the cash was never located. They're saying she was likely murdered between 11:50 a.m. and 12:50 p.m. that day. It's a very small window, isn't it? During that 1 hour window, witnesses spotted a blue Chevrolet Monte Carlo parked outside the Hibbs home. At the time, investigators named several suspects, including Atkins, who had a blue Chevy Monte Carlo and also at one point lived 2 doors away from Hibbs. Police also said Atkins occasionally sold marijuana to her and her husband. Atkins remained a person of interest in the murder for the next 3 decades. During that time, he was interviewed by police at least twice, but maintained his innocence. It says during one interview, Atkins told investigators that he had been a confidential informant for the Bristol Township Police Department at the time of the murder and had a good relationship with Bristol Township narcotics detectives. Former Bristol Township Chief Thomas Mills later confirmed that in 1991, Atkins had been working for them as an informant, purchasing meth and marijuana. Atkins also told investigators about a fight he had with Hibbs and her husband over their claims of low-quality marijuana, but denied threatening her or her family. During his testimony on Monday, however, David Hibbs said that he remembered hearing Atkins tell his mother, "I will effing kill you and blow up your house." Crazy. It says, in January 2022, the case was submitted to the Bucks County investigating grand jury. Atkins' ex-wife, April Atkins, was one of the people who testified. April told the grand jury that in the afternoon of April 19th, 1991, Robert Atkins came home covered in blood. She said her then husband told her he had stabbed someone and lit their house on fire. He then told her to call out of work and get their children because they were taking a trip to the Poconos. April Atkins said she then put his bloody clothes in the wash and showered. April and Robert Atkins then arrived in the Poconos shortly before 5 p.m. that day and stayed for 2 more days before returning to their home on Sunday, April 21st, 1991. They're saying that according to records, April Atkins said she then discovered that day that it was Joy Hibbs who had been killed. April Atkins told investigators she feared for her own safety if she spoke the truth about her then husband's role in the murder. While April Atkins initially gave an alibi for her then husband to investigators, she later recanted that alibi to officials. Jeez. Here's a photo of the murdered woman, Joy Hibbs, with her children. She was stabbed and killed in her own home and asphyxiated, apparently. Then her house was set on fire. Yeah, it's really sad to hear that her son, for quite a long time, kept, he thought it was on him. He's the reason his mum died. I think that's maybe one of the most awful things about reading about her murder, is that her son thought it was his toys or his fish tank that caused the fire that killed his mother. It says the trial is expected to last through the week. Neither prosecutors nor the defense are commenting on the case publicly. Well, there's a really interesting case. If you are needing a trial to follow, that sounds like an interesting one. Let's hear what this video has to say about this case.
One of the many witnesses prosecutors brought forward, telling the court and a judge he was 12 years old that day in April 1991. He was excited to show his mother he had made the honor roll. He got off the bus and immediately discovered his home was on fire and his mother was inside. David Hibbs says when it came to his mom, Joy, her name was the perfect description for the woman because she was kind, generous, and playful. He was 12 in April 1991, the day he came home to find his Croydon house on fire. Hibbs told the court he tried several times to rescue his mother, and he learned she died in his bedroom. He felt responsible that his toys or his fish tank could have caused the blaze that ended his mother's life. But days later, he and his family would learn Joy was murdered. And despite having a theory as to who was responsible, they'd wait more than 3 decades for that arrest. Robert Adkins is now on trial for the killing. A former neighbor, his car was spotted near the Hibbs home the day of the fire. David told the court he heard decades ago Adkins threaten his mother. On the stand Monday, he testified that he heard Adkins say, "I'll expletive, kill you, and blow up your house." Adkins was 25 then, a drug dealer turned police informant. He was a man known in this neighborhood as having a temper. Adkins' ex-wife gave him an alibi back then, but after police reopened the case, she not only recanted that alibi, but helped police get recorded conversations. And many of those recordings and text messages are expected to be shown in court today. Among the many witnesses set to testify, members of the Hibbs family. The case is expected to last this week. And while attorneys on both sides not talking about the case publicly at this point, the defense appears to be trying to demonstrate that the length of time between the killings and this trial date, more than 30 years, they're trying to show a judge that perhaps memories may be a little bit foggy from that time.
There you go. That's a very interesting trial that's going to be taking part. I'd never heard of this one, but it sounds like it started this morning. So if you want to watch it tomorrow, you can. You can watch it. Hold on. It doesn't matter. What was on your roo? A kangaroo? I don't know. No, I hadn't heard of it either. Nope. They sell jellyfish by the million tons packed in salt to China. Oh my god. That is a lot. You know, I am going to go have some Lemsip after this and hope that I'm not coming down with something. Wildman's mum said, I'm not sure what it was. I had the spotlight and it took off on the ground. Sounded like it was heavy. Maybe it was like an alien. Maybe you had one of those roof aliens that tend to get people. All right. Burnt Popcorn says he's a bit of a chub. A little bit. Pretty bonkers case, actually. All right, I think we're going to wrap up for the night. Trish has a really interesting show about the trial of Alex Murdoch today. So it says Alex Murdoch denied new trial in slayings of wife and son. I think she is covering that development for you tonight. That's why I didn't do it. And she'll tell you why he's not getting a new trial in about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. I think she's having quite a long show tonight too, from what she told me earlier. So you guys will have a very long show with her. It could be a new friend you haven't met yet. Oh, it's interesting. The forensic investigator on the Casey Anthony case, Geraldo Blois, someone will tell me how that's pronounced, has released a book about it called CSI, the Casey Anthony child murder case. That'll be I wonder if it has like forensic files from that actual case, or it's just his opinion on what he saw during the case. Would be a very interesting book though. But that's a good one if you're into that type of thing. Give it a look, give it a read. I know there's a lot of people who really really interested in the Casey Anthony like the Casey Anthony trial and murder. Hold on. Can you hear? What is going on with this thing today? We've had bad problems with the microphone all day. Yeah, it's just sign language. I don't know any sign language. I said to Diane Marie, I have zinc in my multivitamin, so I will go back on it. I said I don't normally take it all the time. I normally only take it 1 month on and then 1 month off, because you're not supposed to take it all the time. So I will I'll probably try that again. I think I'm just tired from yesterday. I think I might be a bit more tired than I think I am. Yesterday was emotionally and mentally draining, even though it's just a sports game. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow night. I promise I will. We'll be back 9 p.m. tomorrow night. Thank you to everyone who turned up tonight. And please come back tomorrow night. We'll be back. I hope to have more information about India O'Hanlon tomorrow night. And we'll see. Maybe she'll be back home. Maybe they'll know where she is. Maybe someone will have seen her and called in a tip. That would be really nice. And then we can get more information. Yeah, she was a bit weird during the trial. Oh, yes, we also had the holiday last week. That's true. That's true. Diamond Heart says, feel better, Ping. I will. Sharebear says, just a sports game. I know, it's not just... I mean, we made it to the Super Bowl. It's been trying to do that for like 4 years. Yeah, that's it. I don't want to make you late for Trisha's show, so I love you all. See you tomorrow. Thank you to everyone who supports the show. I don't think we got any donations tonight, so I don't have to say anything to anyone. No, not tonight. But thank you, everyone. I will see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Same as always. Same as always. Good night, everyone.